All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Larissa. We're going to practice 60 minutes of yoga. We're going to do a slow flow this morning. So cushion available if you need it, but it's not something that's necessary. Only if your knees are a little bit tender, it's nice to have a throw pillow or something available. Come on over to your mats, and we're going to start in child's pose just briefly. And take close-kneed child's pose. So knees as close as comfortable, so that way your upper body is draping over your legs. And this close knee child's pose gives us a different opportunity to notice breathing. So take some deep enough breaths that you can feel your low belly and ribs expanding into your legs as you inhale. And then allowing your whole upper body to soften a little deeper into the pose as you exhale. And one other option with these close knees, you might try placing your hands alongside your feet, palms facing up. This again creates that dome shape in your mid to upper back. It's just an option. And a couple more rounds of breath like that, utilizing your legs as feedback so that you can really focus on these deep diaphragm breaths, expanding your low belly and ribs into your legs. Then go ahead and come up into tabletop. In tabletop, take a couple of rounds of cat-cow and go slowly. So as you lower your belly and lift your chest for cow, you might pause here for a moment, pressing your chin forward and upward, maybe even moving your head side to side. And the same thing when you move into your cat. Take some time with it. Feel free to wiggle your hips left to right or do little semicircles with your neck. And then moving at any pace that makes sense for you through these cat-cows. And then come into a neutral spine again. Just a little addition to the cat-cow. Kick your left leg straight out to the side. And you're going to be on the big toe inner blade of your left foot. And then same thing, couple of cat-cows. You might notice a little bit less movement in your spine, but just exploring that sensation around your hip and your groin area as you rotate. And then come back to neutral, bring your left leg in, kick your right leg straight out to the side, and then same idea, cat-cow. You might notice both of your sides are slightly different. Just exploring movement here. And then as you're ready, finishing out your round, make your way into downward facing dog. You've got lots of time, take your time getting there. Bring your feet about hip width distance or just a bit wider. Lift your heels up nice and high. And then swivel both of your heels to the right, creating a little bit more length through the left side of your body. Your knees can bend a bit. Your right knee may bend a little bit more as your left hip crease pulls up and back. Switch sides, back to center, nice high heels before you then swivel both feet to the left. Creating additional length by gently pressing firmly into your right hand. I said gently and firmly at the same time. Firm pressure through your right hand, and then lifting your right hip up and back. And then swivel back to center. Give yourself a big deep breath here. And push your hands away from you to get a little bit more length in your spine. Maybe give your head a little bit of a shake, checking in to make sure your neck is loose. On your next breath in, push your hands away again. And then when you exhale, gently press your chest towards your knees. And give yourself a deep round of breath. And pull the pit of your belly up as you exhale. And lift your heels up nice and high. Look forward between your thumbs. Hop or step there. Take a halfway lift, deep breath in. Then reach your arms back, creating space through your chest and neck. Rise up, reach up. Bow forward as you exhale. Halfway lift. Sweep your arms back. Press the base of your skull forward. Rise and reach. Bow, empty out. And do that again, halfway lift. Arms back, base of your skull forward. Rise up. Press up through your ring fingers, more length through the sides of your body. Bow forward, slowly with control. Halfway lift. And this time, high plank to exhale. And just like halfway lift, press the base of your skull forward, and then squeeze your upper arm bones back to keep that nice length in your neck. Lift your hips about 6 to 12 inches, so the pit of your belly is pulling up. From that strength in your low belly, downward facing dog, pull up and back. Take a round of breath. Push your hands away from you. This time, lift your right leg up as you inhale. And step your right foot between your hands. Keep your back knee lifted. Crescent lunge. Reach up with a deep breath. And soften your back knee so that you can lift your hip points up. And take a full round of breath. Press firmly into your front foot. And take another round of breath. And again, lean forward just a bit, pressing into your front foot. And come to standing. Lift your left knee up as you stand at the top of your mat. Standing figure 4, left ankle over right knee. Take a round of breath. You can bring your hands to heart center for stability. Breathe in, lift your chest. As you breathe out, press your hips back and down. And come to standing again, left knee lifts again. This time airplane, slowly with control. Take one big deep breath. Start to soften your standing leg quite a bit. Take a breath. Then 3/4 crescent, just tapping your back toes down. Crescent lunge, reach back up. And this time, feet together, standing forward fold at the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Arms back, base of your skull forward. Rise up, lengthening through the front of your body. Bow forward to exhale. Halfway. High plank, breathe out. Pull the pit of your belly up. Downward facing dog to exhale. Take a full round of breath. Empty out. And lift your left leg up. Place your foot between your hands, pausing for your exhale. Crescent lunge, reach up. Again, softening your back knee to lift your hip points for stability. And take a full round of breath. And start to press a little further into your front foot. Full in and out. Stay for this exhale, just a little bit of a lean forward, buoyancy in your back knee. Come to standing, lift your right knee up. Standing figure 4. Take a breath. Arms up or at heart center, whatever your preference. As you inhale, lift your chest. And then press your hips back enough. You're looking for some sensation in your right hip. Take a full round of breath in and out. As you exhale, lift the pit of your belly. And come to standing, right knee comes up again. Reach back for airplane, slow exhale. Take one deep breath. Start to soften your standing leg. Take a breath. Tap your back toes down, 3/4 crescent. Crescent lunge, one deep breath. Feet together, standing forward fold at the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Sweep your arms back. Rise up. Bow forward as you exhale. Halfway. High plank, slow, steady breath out. And start to lift from the pit of your belly. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Take one round of breath. We'll go through that series again, just a bit faster. One breath, one movement. Lift your right leg up as you inhale. Plant your foot between your hands, back knee stays up. Rise up, crescent lunge, just a breath. Stay for this exhale, softening your back knee. Come to standing, lift your left knee up. Standing figure four just for your exhale. Come back up, lift your left knee. Airplane pose to exhale. Soften your standing knee. Tap down to 3/4 crescent as you exhale. Crescent lunge, one deep breath. Standing forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift. Sweep your arms back. Rise and reach. Bow, slow, empty out. Halfway lift. High plank. Lift up through your core. Downward facing dog for your exhale. Lift your left leg up. Plant your foot between your hands. Crescent lunge, reach up. Soften your back knee as you exhale. Come to standing, lift your right knee up as high as it'll go. Standing figure four to exhale. Come back up, right knee up. Airplane, slow, slow, slow. Take a breath. Soften your standing knee, tap your back toes down. Crescent lunge, one deep breath. Standing forward fold. Halfway lift. Reach your arms back, lengthen the base of your skull forward. Rise up, reach up. This time, chair pose to exhale. Take a deep breath in. And press your hips back and down. Another round of breath. Slow exhale. Take a deep breath. This time, pull your hands through heart center. Start to lift your left heel and then your whole left foot as you're finding some stability. Nice and slow, you're gonna start to swing your left knee out to the left. It's kind of like a fire hydrant moving to the side. And then continuing to lift your knee up and back, rotate your chest to the left, turning this into floating half moon. So you may keep your hands at heart center. And at any point, feel free to tap your right fingers down for a little bit more stability. Wherever you are, keep a little bit of a soft bend to your standing leg. And that helps maintain muscle action rather than relying on your joint by locking out your knee. Take a deep breath. Slow breath out. Back to where you started, nice and slow. Start to lift your chest, lift your left knee up and out to the left before coming back to chair pose. Come back up, deep breath, stretch up towards the ceiling. Bow forward as you exhale. Halfway lift. Sweep your arms back. Rise up, big deep breath. Chair pose to exhale. And take a round of breath. And again, hands to heart center for stability. Start to lift your right foot, your right heel, and then your foot. And taking your time, pressing your right knee wide to the right, a lot of outer hip activation with this movement. And then slow and steady, turning this into floating half moon. Straightening your right leg back as you rotate your chest up and to the right. Full deep breath. Slow breath out. Again, keeping that soft bend to your standing knee. And see if you can rotate your chest up just another inch. Take a deep breath. Stay for this exhale. Nice and slow, like you went in, coming out slowly, pulling your knee back to the right before you step back into chair. Use your next inhale, rise up to standing, stretch out your body. Bow forward as you exhale. Halfway lift. High plank, slow breath out. Pull up from the pit of your belly. Downward facing dog to exhale. Couple of rounds of breath here. Push your hands away from you to elongate your spine. When you inhale, keep that elongation. And when you exhale, gently press your chest back towards your knees, creating a little bit more length through the front of your body. Just another 2 or 3 breaths here. This is a place where we're going to do some low crescent lunges. And feel free to bring your cushion in here to support your knees if that's helpful. Lift your right leg up. And this time, bend your knee and stack your hips. Giving yourself a couple of breaths in this 3-legged dog, lengthening up through your right knee and rotating your left armpit very gently downward. And then slowly start to draw your knee in towards your chest. Place your right foot between your hands and place your back knee down. A couple of breaths here and just guiding your hips forward and downward. And you're welcome to stay here with your fingertips down, using your chest to gently press your front knee forward. Option 2, bring your hands to your front knee and still same idea, guiding your front knee forward. This is really just dependent on comfort of your low back. And sometimes leaning forward with your torso helps your low back. Sometimes lifting up through your chest can deepen the stretch. So just choosing the option that feels supportive for you. And then especially as we're getting into this hip flexor complex on the front side, these deep diaphragm breaths can help support and sometimes increase the stretch sensation. I'm just focusing on that, couple of deep diaphragm breaths, looking for expansion in your low belly and ribs. And then plant your hands back down inside your front foot. And then you're going to keep rotating to the left. So keep walking your hands to the left. Your back foot is going to kickstand out to the right behind you. And then your front leg, you're going to straighten it and spin to the big toe edge, kind of like how we started with cat-cow. And this is gate pose. We're going to do active variation first. Once you have this position of your legs, bring your hands to your hips, come up nice and tall. And then gently, left arm goes up and reach it over to the right. Again, this is very gentle. Your right inner groin, you can press it towards your left knee, almost like a diagonal, as you reach your right arm up and over. Nope, that's your left arm up and over. A couple of breaths here. And then go ahead and keep the structure of your legs, but bring your hands back down. And then you can either lower your hips towards your left heel. And this is a more supported variation of gate pose. You're also welcome to stay on long arms and keep your hips lifted. Again, choosing a position that feels supportive for you, that you can settle into for several rounds of breath. I'm looking for some kind of a stretch sensation, inner groin, possibly also hamstring on the back of your leg. And as we get into these longer holding poses, just checking in and seeing if you can guide your attention back to noticing sensation in your body and noticing these deep diaphragm breaths. And it's a continuous process. It's not necessary to force your thoughts there. I'm just noticing when your thoughts take you away and coming back again. Deep diaphragm breath. Start to come back up again. And this time just keep walking your hands to the left till you're facing the back of your mat, downward facing dog. And once you get to down dog, feel free to take any movement that feels good for you. And lift your left leg up this time. And step your left foot between your hands. Place your back knee down. And then same idea in this supported crescent lunge. You can keep your hands down using your chest to guide your knee forward. Or you can take a high supported crescent lunge by bringing your hands to your front knee. And just checking in again and seeing if you can bring your thoughts back to noticing breath if they've kind of wandered away. This curiosity, noticing the expansion on your inhale and how your body responds a bit differently to an exhale. There can be this natural relaxation. And then plant your hands back inside your left foot. Start to walk your hands to the right, creating the shape of gate pose. Your right foot is going to kick behind you as you straighten your left leg. Inner blade of your left foot down. Hands to hips as you lift your chest up nice and high. And then gently, right arm goes up and over. And especially when we're getting into some of this hip movement, I use the word gentle often. And so that we're not trying to force movement, we're just exploring this movement. The gentle inner groin of your left side, draw a diagonal towards your right knee. So you're creating some length there. And then lengthening up through your right side as you reach to the left. And then moving from this active gate pose into your supported gate pose. And as you're settling in, if you're not quite feeling something on your inner groin, you can feel free to walk your left foot back a couple of inches or forward a couple of inches. Again, just exploring movement to find the most supportive pose for you. Seeking again this low and slow diaphragm breath. And seeing if that natural relaxive response on the exhale helps you settle in a little deeper for these last few breaths. As you're ready, plant your hands, walk them back to the top of your mat, and downward facing dog. And lift your right leg up again. This time, keep your leg nice and long. Press through your heel and squeeze right above your kneecap so your leg is active. Stack your hips, but keep your leg long. So as you're rotating your right heel to the left with this nice long lever, you might notice just a slightly different sensation. Just one big deep breath here. And then tuck your knee in, plant your foot between your hands, back knee comes down. This time, heel toe your front foot nice and wide, and then turn your toes out to about 10 o'clock. That's the wrong side of the clock, about 2 o'clock. And then from here, turning this into dragon, you can use your right hand to gently guide your right knee to the right. There's a really small rotation here. So you're not necessarily trying to get a huge rotation, but just lifting your chest and rotating to the right as much as your knee does. So as we settle into this pose, as your right knee continues to move to the right, you might continue that gentle twist. And then in this dragon, you can stay long on your left arm. You might also come down to your left forearm. Again, we're just exploring what feels comfortable and supportive for you. We'll be here for just a few more rounds of breath. Every time you inhale, lift your chest, and then that amount of space that you created when you exhale, gentle rotation to the right, allowing your knee to rotate to the right as much as your chest. And here's the lift of the sole of your right foot if it's not already. Just continuing that gentle rotation. And then final step, turning this into twisted dragon. Squeeze your back heel, your left heel towards your hips. And you may stay just like this. You might already have increased the stretch sensation in your back leg. Second option, you can also reach your right hand back to your back foot. And it doesn't matter if your hands and your feet meet or not, but again, you're continuing that rotation and looking for stretch through the front of your left leg. And give yourself 2 or 3 deep diaphragm breaths. This really gentle rotation every time you exhale, just going as deep into this pose as makes sense for your body. And then really slowly with control, lower your back foot back down, hands back to center, and wiggle your front foot back to center, turn this into half splits. So you're gonna start to straighten your front leg as you line your hips over your back knee. Very similar to gate pose, but your front leg is just in a different position. And moving from inner groin to hamstring. You've got the same options. You can stay more upright here, or you can continue to move your hips back so that you're sitting on your back heel for a little more support. And then some of you are already doing it, but certainly you can move this into more of a full split by starting to straighten your back leg as well. And anytime we're giving these options, it really is all about exploring what supports you rather than trying to figure out what's the quote right choice. There isn't really a right choice. It just depends on what's supporting you. Start to come out of your half split. Take your time, make your way back to downward facing dog. Any kind of movement you might need in between. Sometimes it's helpful once you get there to tuck your left knee into your chest. And just spend an extended time working out the front of your left leg. Tucking it back in can be a really nice release or reset. And then as you're ready, lift your left leg up. Squeeze right above your kneecap. Keep your leg as straight as possible. Stack your hips. Drive through your left heel to rotate your leg to the right. To chest as you step forward slowly with control. Back knee comes down. Dragon. Front foot comes nice and wide, gently rotating your left knee to the left. And then again, your left hand can be a nice helper to gently guide your leg ever so slightly forward to create some traction at your hip, and then really gently to the left. Again, the rotation starts gently, just a little lift of your chest rotating to the left just as much as your leg is rotating. And then seeking to create these tiny incremental spaces with breath. Tiny lift in your chest as you inhale. And then rotate into that space you created, left knee and chest both moving to the left. And do that again, a little bit of lift as you inhale. And gentle rotation as you exhale. And then turning this into twisted dragon, squeeze your back heel in towards your hips. And you may stay right here. Option, you can reach your left arm back towards your right foot. Doesn't matter if they touch or not, but now increasing the rotation with that movement. And then if your foot and your hand do meet, you can use your hand to guide your heel a little closer to your hips to increase the stretch. Check in with your breath, a couple of deep diaphragm breaths, really gentle rotation as you exhale. And then go ahead and release this side, make your way into your split, half split, any variation in between. Pointing or flexing your left foot will make a big difference in where you're feeling the stretch. Try on both and just see what feels more supportive. Pointed foot oftentimes gives us the ability to lean in a little deeper, chest forward towards your front toes, whereas a flexed foot can sometimes get you into your calf muscle as well. And then once you choose which one feels good for you, go ahead and settle in. Just checking in with your neck. A little lift at the base of your skull, whatever position you are in space, keeping a nice long neck. breath or two. And then whenever you're ready, downward facing dog. Walk your feet a little wider than hip width distance. And start to walk your hands back to your feet. So again, feet a little wider than hip width distance. And once your hands are back towards your feet, you're gonna lower your hips back and down. Almost like a football hike. I don't play football, but that's the first thing I think of. And then from here, you're gonna cross your arms. You're gonna grab the outside of your left shin with your right hand and then vice versa. It doesn't matter which arm goes on top because we'll switch in a moment. Once you have that, start to dome your upper back. And you can, without moving your shins are gonna resist this, pull your hands towards center as if you're trying to press your elbows towards each other. So you're creating some resistance to create a little space in your mid to upper back. If you're not quite feeling a stretch, you can keep straightening your legs as you keep doming your upper back. Give yourself just one big deep round of breath here, big dome in your upper back. Lift the pit of your belly up as you exhale. And then go ahead and release your arms, lower your hips back down. Just switch the cross of your arms so your other arm is on top. And we'll do that exact same thing. Dome your upper back. And create that push-pull, pulling your hands towards center as your shins resist. Just a couple of deep rounds of breath here in this very active stretch. And then release your arms. This time take a deep squat. So you might have to adjust your feet a little bit wider. And then one little tip here, if your heels are lifted and it doesn't quite feel stable or comfortable, you can just simply roll up the back of your mat so that you have a little bit of a lift for your heels to settle into. Again, that's just an option. And in this deep squat, we'll again explore some movement, just a little gentle shift side to side. Start to settle back into center. Gently press your tailbone downward as you lift the middle of your chest. Sometimes that gives you just a bit more space to press your elbows into. Just a couple more rounds of breath here, actively pressing your knees wide with your upper arms. And then standing forward fold. Plant your hands, walk them back forward for downward facing dog. This time come into high plank. And take your time lowering slowly with control. Lower all the way down to your abdomen. And then once you get there, create goalpost shape with your arms, forearms and elbows down to the earth. And then take a moment to make sure that your elbow is straight out from your shoulder or slightly ahead of it, forward more, rather than tucking your elbow back towards your waistline. And then from here, bump your hips just an inch or two to the right as you roll onto your left hip. That little bump to the right just puts your low back in a better position for this little twist. Looking for some kind of sensation through your left chest and or shoulder. And then choosing the leg position that supports you. Your top foot can tap back behind you. You can also bend both of your knees towards your chest and let them rest on each other. Again, just kind of exploring what feels supportive as we settle in here. And your left hand, the one that you're leaning into, move your fingers forward away from you about an inch or two, and then settle back in. And just moving from pec major to pec minor with that little movement. A couple more rounds of breath, bringing your attention back again to your deep diaphragm breaths. And then roll back to center and readjust, forehead down, goalpost on both sides. And shift your hips just a couple of inches to the left as you roll onto your right side. Again, choosing any leg position that feels supportive. Your forehead or your right temple can be down on your mat. Tiny adjustment, move your right fingers forward a couple of inches, just adjusting the sensation, and then still breathing deeply to settle back in. Yourself one more round of breath, conscious and slow. And come back to center. Take crocodile pose, stack your palms on top of each other, and then forehead down on your palms. Just focusing again on breathing, creating some space in your mid to low back just through breath. Just explore this. It's not meant for you to hold your breath, but we're just exploring the spaces between breath. So on your next breath in, expand as deeply as possible, big movement through your ribs and belly. Pause at the very top of your inhale, just noticing fullness before you exhale again. Do that a few rounds on your own, just exploring that sensation of fullness and emptiness. Pausing at the top of your inhale, noticing full before you slowly exhale, and then repeat the cycle. Take your time here. As you're ready, plant your hands alongside your rib cage and take a baby cobra, a cobra, or an up dog. Just depends on what kind of lift feels good for your spine. Just exploring a really gentle back bend and then downward facing dog. Walk your feet through your hands. Have a seat. And you can take either fish or legs up the wall. So supported fish, I know I said you don't need a prop, but if you're taking supported fish, it is helpful to have a pillow or a block. And if you don't have one of those available, just take legs up the wall. You can stack your palms underneath your hips, allowing your legs to be up. If you're finding there's effort involved, a decent amount of effort, I definitely recommend moving to a wall or a piece of furniture so you can rest your legs on something. Of you in fish, you take any leg variation. Again, just this exploration of movement, figuring out what feels supportive. Sometimes in fish, reclined butterfly legs, feet together, knees wide is helpful. And those of you in legs up the wall, again, just checking in, making sure there's not a ton of efforting, keeping your knees soft. Often as needed, just returning your attention to your breath. Looking for expansiveness as you inhale. And then every time you exhale, allowing the earth to support you a little heavier. If you're in fish, start to remove your bolster or block. Everybody draw your knees into your chest. Give your knees a squeeze. Feel free to make some circles or motion side to side. And then plant your feet, almost like bridge legs, but super wide. Your feet might even be off your mat onto the floor. And some windshield wiper movements. You're going to press your right knee forward and downward. Your left hip will go to the left to slide out of the way. Pause here for a moment, actively pressing your knee forward and down, creating some length through the front of your right leg. Before you switch sides. Same idea, left knee forward and downward, actively pressing it away from you. Just a couple of windshield wiper movements on your own at any pace that makes sense, a little back and forth. And this movement here, this can be a nice release for your low back if you're finding you're sitting a lot or if you're on Zoom a lot or technology a lot. It's a nice release, really gentle. One more time, draw your knees into your chest and rock yourself up to a seat. And make yourself comfortable. We'll sit for just a few moments. For me, I like to sit on a yoga block or a pillow so that hips are higher than knees. And you're certainly welcome to move to a wall, give yourself some back support. And I will give the option of a more traditional Shavasana in just a moment. Once you're situated, if you're comfortable to do so, I'll invite you to close your eyes. If that doesn't quite feel right, just simply set your gaze down in front of you. going to practice that same gentle attention focus on deep diaphragm breathing. And just this curiosity about the pathway of breath, and seeking a little bit of expansion as you inhale. And creating a little space at the top of your shoulders between your ears as you exhale. And just noticing the nature of the mind, thoughts pop in. And just getting that conscious choice. We don't have to follow every thought. Just this concentration practice, bringing your attention back to your breath again and again. You can try on placing one of your hands at your low belly. It just gives us a little external feedback to paying attention to breath, just an option. Noticing again, if your attention has moved, you're just kindly shepherding it back and noticing breath. And what is the sensation of this breath like? And you may stay just like this, just exploring breath, a gentle attention practice. You're also welcome to lay down in a more traditional shavasana, take up some space. You might even place a cushion or a throw pillow over your belly, giving you some grounding. Whatever position you're choosing, it's giving yourself support. Perhaps offering a little gratitude for the earth, for the support that it gives you. And then settling either into deep rest or just continuing this practice of breath focus. Take some deeper breaths again. If you're reclined, feel free to make some head movement side to side, moving your fingers and toes. If you're seated upright, you can do those same types of head circles. You're also welcome to take a baby cat by planting your hands in front of you and rounding your back. As you're exploring this movement, perhaps also noticing the subtler movement of just the inhales and the exhales. Come onto your right side if you're reclined, just briefly. And then press up to a seated position. And bring your palms together. It's an international symbol for gratitude, or perhaps a self high five. And just offering yourself a moment of thanks for coming into your practice today. And then the simple word we borrow with great reverence, it means I bow to you. Together we share. Namaste.